Hello, it's the Beginner Crafter and welcome to another FlossTube video where I show my cross-stitch projects. And this time I have 4 projects. I made quite a lot of progress on some of them, but not so much on one of them, so let's go. The first one I want to show is the fairy, and with the fairy, well, I finished this part almost. I've got still a few stitches to do here, but I wanted to move to the wings, and the wings I'm doing with a different thread because the white one is a mix of Kreinik thread and a regular floss, and I normally use 3 strands of floss for this project, and here, because I needed to mix 2 threads, well, I decided, well, okay, I can't really use 1.5 thread of the threads, one and a half strands of each thread, so I'll just use 2 strands in total instead of 3. It would just look more delicate, so that would work. But it doesn't really look that much more delicate when it comes to thickness, because this Kreinik thread, it's very thick actually. It's like 2 strands of regular floss, because it's covered in this kind of glitter, which really makes it very, very coarse and quite unpleasant to work with. It looks beautiful. I guess it doesn't shine as much on camera, but it does so live. So the effect is quite nice, but working with it is really terrible. It just keeps snagging on things, and the regular floss strand just snaps from contact, so I don't like working with it. And when it's time for the other color of Kreinik, it's just the Kreinik itself. I'll then use just 1 strand of that because it's quite thick enough, and even if it is tiny bit slimmer than Kreinik plus another strand, I don't think it will matter that much because those will be the outermost parts of the wings, so if they are a bit more delicate, I don't think it matters that much. And I put about 1,000 stitches into the fairy, so it is quite big progress. This is the branch that she's sitting on. I've started a tiny bit of the butterfly that's sort of touching and sitting on her hand. And there also will be some tree branch here and a bit more butterflies. But for now I wanted to focus on the wings. But I think, because there is some plant in here as well, I think after I finish with this wing with this white mixed floss, all that floss, thread and floss mix, I will fill in the other details of the wings, but I will not touch the gold other Kreinik floss for now, because I really had enough of working with that floss. It's really annoying. It's really coarse. It looks beautiful, but not a pleasure to work with. So I think I'm going to retire fairy for a while anyway, just because, yeah, 1,000 stitches is a lot to put into one project during a short amount of time. So I guess it's time for fairy to have some kind of vacation, but we'll see what happens. Then another project with a lot of progress is the Hogwarts Crest, and well, I've done this. I filled this part. I've went on a little bit in here to finish that part, but I mainly moved on to this part of the crest, filled in the lion and the background color of Gryffindor, and moved a little bit to the badger of Hufflepuff, but to be honest, for now, to me it looks like a Niffler. It needs more detail, but for now it just really reminds me of a Niffler that is, you know, reaching for some gold and then putting its head backwards to see if anyone's looking at him. So, I mean, it's still within the context of Harry Potter universe, but it needs to be a badger, not a Niffler. But yeah, I've done quite a lot here, so maybe Hogwarts Crest also will be put for a while, but I worked on Hogwarts Crest before Fairy, so I've already had some break from it. So maybe I'll stitch a bit later on, but I'm really glad with the progress here because it's really filled right now and I'm very, very happy about it. The third project I have is the Stitch Along by Peppermint Purple. The needle minder just keeps making noise. So I've got 4 weeks done. Week number 1, week number 2, week number 3, and week number 4. They're really pretty. I really like all those Blackwork patterns that turn up. And I think it would really cool in one color. It just gives me so many more ideas what I could do, how I could do them. And there's not enough time in the world. At least not where you work, not when you work. So I'm really looking forward to holidays right now. But yeah, they're really pretty and I really want to do a lot of stuff. But I need to sort of, pace myself to have something to do and not to overwork myself and not feel burnt out. I've already had burnout some time ago and it wasn't pretty. So while for me all the crafts that I do is helping mentally, especially during, the lockdown pandemic and stuff, I don't want to overdo it because then what will I do to, heal myself from that? So I am trying to pace myself and not to go too quickly with this one. So I have the 4 weeks filled. We're still waiting for the 5th week's pattern to be published. It's not out yet. And I've done a bit more of the borders for the weekly fillers. And I have more than a half of those done. Haven't really yet touched the outer border of the whole thing. Just this first part to get to this, to know where to have those first weeks placed. So that. So there's still a long way before me, but we have a whole year for that. Nobody's going to finish earlier than in the last week of December just because it's a stitch along and you get a new pattern for a square or a rectangle every week. So I still have a lot of time to do the border. I know a lot of people have already finished, but I'm just gonna do a bit every week. After I do the filler, I'll do some more of the borders. And right now it looks really, really pretty. I'm glad that some colors are a bit more bold and intense because the first week looks really pale. It's this kind of color, and the other ones look already nice. And some of the patterns look better from a bit more further away. I think so, but some of them are really, really nice up close. And The last 2 weeks, this one and this one, they cost me a lot of frogging because I just kept making mistakes in the pattern. But it's going on great. So if you still haven't found a project to work on, you can join, because really the patterns, the weekly fillers don't take much to do, so you can easily catch up and go then together with the rest of us. Okay, and the last one has already joined us. It's the Virgo. And remember how last time I was talking about losing floss and stuff? Well, after complaining so much, I found it. And that also happens quite often to me, that whenever I complain about losing something and I tell people how annoyed I am about it, the things miraculously appear. So nice. So I managed to finish another page. The page 12 is almost complete. I mean, there are some confetti stitches, but I will fill them up later on. And I've made some more progress on page 13. And it is quite nice progress, I believe. I like it. There's quite a lot of big chunks of colors, which I love. Not a lot of rethreading, so that's great. But this is again a page with lots of oranges and yellows and warm colors that I'm not really fond of that much, but I have to survive this page and that page for that. And later on it should be a bit more coldish blue colors that will be much more fun to work with. But yeah, I've done some nice progress on the Virgo as well. So I like it. Okay, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. It's always like nice to know that you like what I'm doing and what I'm showing you. If you don't like it, please let me know why. And if you want to see my progress in cross-stitching or other crafts that I do, consider subscribing to my channel and join me on my crafting adventures. Hopefully, see you next time. Bye!